supporting you in your dog parenting journey. The Dynamic Dog Owner with Debbie Potter. Hello and welcome to The Dynamic Dog Owner, designed to support you, the dog owner, in your dog parenting journey. So if you're a regular listener, you will know that we talk about all things dog, all different topics, not dedicated just to training. We are a dog training school, so there's a lot of emphasis on training and a viewpoint from a training perspective. But we do talk about lots of other different aspects of owning a dog, things that you're going to come across. So if you haven't listened to any other episodes, do look through the episode list and you're bound to see some topics that are of interest to you. If you have never come across us before, we are Potter Paws. Do follow us on social media. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Potter Paws. And obviously there's lots of information on there. You may have seen recently that I did a reel about jumping up. Actually, it was this week, very recently. And I thought it was a good opportunity to have a little chat about the topic on the podcast. And basically, I don't tend to plan these. Maybe I should. You tend to just get a raw perspective of basically ramblings of my brain that come out in the podcast episodes. And sometimes I go, what should I talk about today? So if there is anything you want to talk about, do let me know. If there's a topic you go, I'd love to hear your view on X, Y, or Z, let me know. But today I'm going to talk about a topic I had it was a conversation that I must have repeated about 10 times last week. And so many people said, oh yeah, how do I deal with this? So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to discuss it. Basically, dogs jumping up in excitement, especially when people come in the house, either family members who live in the house or sort of friends and family coming to the house. They're getting really excited and jumping up. And I've got first-hand experience with this because one of my dogs is a real jumper. So obviously, if you don't know already, I've got 3 dogs, 2 labs and a golden retriever. And the eldest dog, Dave, is he's like a puppy in a 7-year-old's body. I keep saying to him, when are you going to grow up? When are you going to start maturing and slowing down a little bit? But his excitement for life and love of people and dogs is just as high as it was when he was a puppy. And it makes me laugh. One day he might mature and be a bit more sensible. But I struggled quite a lot with him as a jumper when he was younger. Not so much with the other 2, or in different ways, should I say. So Dave is your classic, will jump up at people, will jump up when they come in the door, loves people. And Rem is slightly different. He would jump at me when he was younger for anxiety. And occasionally, very occasionally, he does that. But the motivation is very different to an excitable dog. And Fred isn't really a jumper at all, other than to have a really polite cuddle. And that sounds really strange, but he doesn't jump up as in jump up crazy. He just looks at me and goes, can I have a cuddle? And then just jumps up and puts his arms around you and has a lovely cuddle. It's very lovely. Now, obviously, we don't tend to go into the how to train stuff on the podcast because simply I can't. There's too much to go into on the podcast about actually training. But that is where our online hub, Pawcademy, which is still in the makings. It was supposed to be ready already, but life happened. And I'm hoping to get it ready to launch in the next couple of months. And there will be a whole series of videos all about jumping up. So if it is a particular area that your dog struggles with, then do check out the link to be the first to hear about Pawcademy, so that you can obviously get that information when it's available. So yeah, we're going to talk generally about jumping up and my experiences about jumping up, and hopefully there'll be some couple of golden nuggets in here. And obviously if you want more information, then do check out the Pawcademy when it is going to be ready very soon. So jumping up. Dave jumps up. He always has. Always. He just loves life, loves people. I do remember a rather funny occasion where he jumped up and kind of pinned my mother-in-law against the wall, giving her big slobbery kisses. She doesn't like dogs, so I don't think it went down very well. That was a really good moment. And yeah, he just generally likes to jump at people, and he's not fussy. It could be in the house, it could be on a walk. It's one of the reasons why I don't let him off lead in public. One, because he would jump up at people when he was younger, and it's not something I wanted him to practice doing. Obviously, if you know him, it's fine, but if you don't know him, you don't want a 40-kilogram black lab running towards you, jumping up at you, kissing you on the nose. And basically, and yeah, he obviously I don't let him off the lead for a couple of other reasons too. One, because he is so independent. He's like, I'll be back in a minute. And I personally don't like that. I have quite high expectations if my dogs are off lead. And I think it kind of highlights my opinion that I can't change his character. Dogs are who they are. We can definitely tweak, we can shape, we can mould, but we cannot change who they are. And I think a lot of my outlook on dog training is very much acceptance, accepting who your dog is, what they like, what they don't like, what their capabilities are, and working within them. And I know that Dave is always going to be life and soul of the party, loving people, and he's always going to be quite independent. So I can't change who he is. But we can create the best life and the best opportunities for him. And obviously we continue to train and create situations where he can succeed. So he also jumps when people come in the house. And I say he's a big boy, so he's not a little dog. And I think very much, I don't know about you guys, but I think dog world is very sizist. A little dog would get away with jumping at you, no problem. No one would bat an eyelid. They'd be like, "Yep, cool, little dog, just up at my knees. That's polite, that's cute." But when a big dog does the same thing, it's suddenly not cute or acceptable. So there is definitely a two kind of opinion. Little dogs do get away with a lot more than bigger dogs, not just with jumping up, but like with reactivity, pulling on the lead. Oh, well, they're only small, so it doesn't really matter. It does matter. But obviously that's where everybody's expectations, goals, etc. are individual, and what's right for one and a problem for one person isn't necessarily a problem for another person. And I think that's something we really do have to take into consideration. So I say Dave jumps, he always has. Now I am a little bit different in my approach to things, because a lot of people, basically everyone who brought this topic up with me last week, and there was about 6 people I think that I can remember who brought this topic up, all said, well, we do that thing that we've been told to do, that we should ignore them when we come in. And I kind of go, okay. And they go, don't you agree? Nope, I don't agree. I don't agree with ignoring dogs when you come in. And there's a few reasons why. One, you coming in is probably your dog's favourite time of the day. And most people, I don't know if you are not the same, but most people would probably agree going home and greeting their dog and having their dog greet them is one of the best times of your day. That unconditional love, they're pleased to see you, it's lovely. And I don't personally see that we should ignore that and devalue that lovely greeting that we get because society says we shouldn't. And I actually think that approach, again, it's my personal opinion from my experiences, I think that approach actually makes jumping up worse. So I believe the complete opposite. And obviously we'll explore why. One of the other reasons I don't like it is, I personally enjoy going home and feeling loved. Teenage kids, I have teenage kids. Anyone else who's got teenage kids, solidarity, I feel your pain. They can be interesting, fun, challenging, so much harder than like any other stage so far. Hopefully it's the peak and adulthood becomes much nicer for them, or as parenting an adult, I don't know. But I obviously, when I come in, you go hi if all the kids are all there, and they're like, yeah, whatever, and they're all busy doing their own thing. And this is why my approach is different, because if I walk in and everyone ignores me, you've probably felt the same at some point. How do you feel? You've been out for a few hours, you walk in, you say hello to your family, and each one ignores you. A, you feel a little bit peed off. 2, you feel a little bit unloved. 3, if you're anything like me, you try way harder to get their attention. And you talk to them, and then you pester them, and then you try and do something funny to make them lighten the mood, or, you put your face in front of their phone. Anything you can just to get a reaction that they go, hello. Brilliant, thank you. That's all I needed. We try so much harder to get their attention. So it kind of stands to reason, why is that any different for our dogs? Obviously, I know dogs, humans are different species, but motivations can be quite similar. Your dog's been at home, obviously it's slightly different because obviously the dog's been at home on their own rather than the other way around, but if your dog's been home alone for however long you've left them, they are so pleased to see you. You walk in the door and you completely blank them. They're going to be like, hello, are you okay? Hello, I'm here. They're likely to jump more to bark more, to get more excited, to pull out all the stops, trying to get your attention. So in a roundabout way, I believe ignoring them actually encourages way more excitement around the door, because they are desperately trying harder and harder and harder to get a reaction. And this is where we have this wonderful thing called an extinction burst, where, think of it a bit like gambling. There becomes a point where you give up. But every now and again, you're going to inadvertently reward them. You might look at them. You might brush your hand as you're putting your coat away, and it might brush the dog. That then says to them, yes, I got some attention. You might say, get down, and push them off. They then go, oh, they touched me, amazing. Inadvertently, we're actually rewarding it, which means their extinction burst, so how long they will keep pushing to get a reaction, increases. So if on the first day we spend 30 seconds ignoring them and then we give in and fuss them, they go, great, tomorrow I'm going to try for 40 seconds. They'll crack in a minute. And then eventually you've actually extended how long they'll be excited for, desperately trying to get your attention. So I don't agree with ignoring dogs when you come in. And I say most people would probably say, what the hell is she talking about? That's rubbish. But I say it's my opinion. Because again, we're not teaching dogs what we want them to do. And I think there's a real big thing about that in general with dogs. We want them to stop doing what they're doing. So stop doing X, stop doing Y. So stop jumping up, stop pulling, stop running off when I call you. But we never stop and think about, what do I actually want from you? So we then go, well, I just don't want them to jump up. Okay, but what does not look like? What do you want? When we can work out what we actually do want, rather than trying to constantly chastise them and tell them off for the thing we don't want, we have a goal, we have a plan, we have something to work towards and go, right, I don't want you to do that, but I do want you to do this. And personally, I think that approach actually helps them a lot more. So my kind of go-to is, well, I don't mind saying hello to you. I don't mind you jumping around and twirling and being really excited, as long as your feet are on the floor, as long as you're not actually jumping up at me trying to lick my face, that's fine. So my personal rule is, I say rule loosely, is when I come in, yes, I will give you all the love you need, but your feet have to be on the floor. Simples. They then learn, I get all the attention in the world as long as my feet are on the floor. So cool, I'll wiggle around at your feet, I'll twirl around, and the attention, rather than me trying to jump up and get the attention and constantly jumping up higher and higher and higher trying to get it, the attention comes to me. Wow, cool. So I've just got to stay here on the floor and I get showered with love. That way, we're getting the greeting that we all want. Dogs want it, humans want it. I mean, maybe some people don't want it. I don't know. But most of you who are dog owners are going to want that affection when you come in. So therefore, we can change the rules slightly for people who don't want it. But most of us want that. So both parties are getting the attention they want. You're getting the need to be loved satisfied quicker, which means we can then get out that emotion and move on quicker. And I personally think, again, satisfying the need is the easiest way to sort of extinguish it, because then they're not going to be desperately trying harder and harder and harder for attention. They're going to go, oh, cool, I've got a fuss. Wicked, I'll go and do something else. A lot of times it's excitement that it brews when we come in. And again, there's this really weird thing that, it will exasperate separation anxiety and isolation anxiety if you fuss your dog when you come in and out. Again, I don't get it personally, my personal opinion, because that doesn't make you more or less anxious about something. Yes, we can go a bit OTT and we don't want to go over the top, but a polite, oh, hi, how are you? Nice to see you when you come in is absolutely fine. If it's I'm rolling around on the floor, screaming and shouting, showering you with love, then yes, probably it's a bit OTT. But a general quick Heidi, hello, how are you, is not necessarily going to exasperate isolation and separation anxiety. And obviously we can look at ways to channel that excitement and energy. So one of the things I do especially when I've been out for a long time, which is very rare. My dogs are quite lucky that they have someone home with them 95% of the time. They are rarely left on their own. But when they are, it's normally for an outing. And someone, so for example, my mum will come around and look after them. They're left for 2 or 3 hours. She comes over for a period of time, then they're left for an hour or two at the end. Obviously, when the whole family have been out for a long period of time, they are so excited. Like, just normal greetings is probably not gonna sort of get rid of the excitement very quickly. So instead, personally, I have 3 pig's ears left in the porch. And then when I walk in, they get handed a pig's ear. They go, "Oh, hi, mum." They parade with it for a few seconds. They settle down and eat a chew. Obviously, I don't do that every single time I come in, because that wouldn't... Obviously, I'd go through a hell of a lot of pig's ears, for one. And it's not necessarily a training method, but it is a management method. So again, I think there's a big difference between training and management. I know in those moments when I've been out for a really long time and the excitement levels are so high that it's going to take them a long time to calm down, I can't train. I just need to do something to get them chill. And for me, a pig's ear at the door works. For the times when I have just been out of the house for a little period of time, then we can train. Because it's picking your moments, it's picking your battles and making sure you're setting everybody up for success. Now, obviously, you have got the issue of that some weirdos don't like dogs. And obviously I say that in the most affectionate way. Some people don't like dogs. Yes, I think it's... wow, why? Why would you not like dogs? But some people don't. And that is absolutely up to them. I see it as being quite alien, because to me, dogs are everything. So, and I'm sure to many dog lovers here as well, you probably go, yeah, I don't know how that happens. But, everyone's different and that's fine. Some people don't like dogs. Some people don't like dogs, but they don't want them jumping all over them when they meet you and they come in, and they don't want to fuss your dog. And in that case, we can then have a different rule. So we can teach our dogs what we'd like them to do. We simply, and this is the simplest thing in the world, put them on a lead. Put your dog on a lead. Let your guests come in the house. Your dog cannot jump at them. You can again show your dog what you'd like them to do. You've got your bed there, lay down. Or ask them to lay down by your side. Reward them for that calmness so that they learn guests come into the house is calm. It's a calm activity. It's not something I get overexcited about. And then when I'm calm, if I'm invited, I can go and greet them. But if I'm not invited, I'm quite cool, happy, sitting here doing what I'm doing. And again, it kind of goes back to the last week's episode, which was about, will my dog grow out of this? No, they won't grow out of jumping up at the door unless we show them how and what we'd like them to do instead, or unless we create situations where they can succeed. And I think that is, I say, one of the most important things. And I know I harp on about it, but creating situations where your dog can succeed is so much more beneficial, and it's going to get you to your end training goal so much quicker than putting them into situations where they can't get it wrong and then trying to stop them from doing what you don't want them to do. So, for example, letting them run towards the front door, jump all over somebody, and then trying to calm them down if the horse has already bolted. Loose lead walking. I know my dog's distracted by other dogs, but I'm going to walk really close to this dog just to see what happens. Oh, look, no, now they're getting really, really excited. Oh, let me try and regain their focus. If you simply just walk a little bit further away from them, you won't need to regain their focus. They're learning what to do, rather than don't do that, do this instead. And it's a really, really big element of training. And I think it's just human nature. Human nature is let's push them. Let's see if we can apply a bit more pressure. Let's see if it works. I think it's just the competitive nature of humans, which there's nothing wrong with. But we have to recognise that, we can't set them up to fail and then wonder why they fail. We can set them up to succeed, show them what we'd like them to do. We build confidence going, oh, that went really well. And then gradually make it harder, gradually apply pressure. That way, your dog's learning, you're enjoying, and you're going to get results a lot quicker. So obviously, we can't go into the whole topic of how to train this in the podcast, but satisfying the need is so incredibly important. The need for affection when you come in, for me, is really important. But then equally teaching them that these people don't want your fuss. Come and do this instead. Personally, for me, I put my dogs in the kitchen if I've got people coming in who aren't dog people. So obviously the people who know my dogs and know how to interact around them and my dogs are quite comfortable with, they just come on in, and the dogs are fine. But there are some people who, like for example, workmen, who don't know my dogs, might be intimidated by them woofing. You don't know. My dogs might go, "Oh my God, who are you coming into my house?" And, act a little bit out of character. So in those situations, you could put them on a lead. I personally put mine in the kitchen. Put them in the kitchen, shut the stair gate, and they go, "Oh, cool, someone's come in." Yes, they might have a few woofs and excitement, but they learn they're not going to get to that person. Obviously, they could probably just jump the stair gate, but don't tell them that because they haven't worked that out yet. They haven't worked out that is an opportunity, and I'd prefer it to stay that way. So please don't tell my dogs that they are probably big enough to jump the stair gate. It keeps them separated so that people can come in the house. I can say, do you like dogs? Are you okay with dogs? Are you happy if I let them out? Prefer not to? Cool. And then obviously we can read the situation a little bit more. And again, there's nothing wrong with doing that with your guests when they come in. Just because it's a family member coming into the house, it doesn't mean you can't put them in a kitchen behind a stair gate. Invite your guests in, take their shoes off, get comfy. Brief them on the new rules. This is how we welcome. Feet on the floor. If they jump up, we don't fuss. We wait for them to put their feet back on the floor. We reward. Then the people coming in have got a briefing. Dogs have a moment to kind of just take check of who's coming in. You can make sure that everything's in place for perfection and success, and then we can move forward. And I think, again, it goes down to a little bit of planning, a little bit of preparation, and just thinking about what do I want my dogs to do? How can I create a situation where it actually works? And knocking that thing on the head of, I just ignore my dog. Because some dogs will go half an hour and they're still crazy, desperately trying to speak to you. Yes, we can combine ignoring with training. So personally, my rules are, in very brief, you come in, I fuss, I have a quick pause, I aim to get back to them and fuss before they jump up or before, they're trying to get attention from me. I have a pause, they go back and I fuss them. I have a pause, they go back and I fuss them. Generally, the fuss gets shorter, the pause gets longer. If I miss the opportunity and don't get down to them and fuss them with their feet on the floor and they jump up, then I ignore them briefly. But like 2 or 3 seconds until their feet go on the floor. The second their feet are on the floor, I fuss them again. But they've already had their needs satisfied because we've already fussed. So that initial jump isn't quite as full on. That's how I tackle it. And obviously this is, as I say, we can't give away every piece of information on the podcast because the podcast would just be so long. And it's very individual to you and your circumstance and your dog. There is no generic answer that is going to fix everything. Yes, there are common textbook answers, but every dog will be different. Every human, every interaction, every person coming in will be slightly different. And therefore, a tailored approach is the best. Now, for the textbook, this is how to work through this. It will be on our Paw Academy online service soon. So if this is a topic that you'd love to work through, either go on the link on the show notes and click on that and you'll be the first to know when the Paw Academy is ready. It's there, nearly there. It's just taking a lot longer than I thought it would. And if not, you can work with us on an online coaching basis so we can help you through it. And if you've got any questions, any topics you'd like to discuss in the future, do let me know. Hopefully this has been useful, and hopefully your dogs aren't jumping up right now. Next time you come in, just adopt that. I'm going to give you fuss at your level for a short period of time and satisfy that need when I come in. Have a great week and I'll catch up with you really soon. Thank you for listening to The Dynamic Dog Owner with me, Debbie Potter. See you next time.